What's going on, everybody? My name is Jared Gobler, and I am the individual who rode the dirt bike through the high school in the video you just saw there, or on my page if you haven't seen it yet. But I did want to go ahead and make this follow-up video here and just kind of talk about the overall scenario as to what happened, what our plan was when we planned that out, what actually happened, and kind of the punishment and the process I went through personally with the kind of legal system there, and really everything that just kind of happened along the way and how it all played out. So I wanted to make this video for everybody who has seen the video. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go to my channel, just kind of check it out. It's a short 1-minute video, but yeah, let's just jump right in. I'll try to keep this as short as possible. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna kind of talk about the transition of the YouTube page and what I'd like to do with it. Sorry about the glare with the glasses there. It happens all the time, unfortunately. So I'm just gonna deal with it and continue to keep rolling here. So to talk about the riding my dirt bike through the high school, the year is obviously 2022, so that happened in 2016. That was over 6 years ago. And that happened about 3 or 4 days before we were set to get released from high school in general. I don't know how your high schools work, but at ours in Hayward, Wisconsin there, we got released about a couple weeks earlier than the rest of the students did for summer vacation. And ultimately, you get released, you do all your graduation ceremonies and things like that. And so we planned to do this 1 or 2 days, again, 3, maybe 1, 2, 3, or 4 days before that happened. And so we didn't really have a plan for a high school prank as seniors. We didn't, not many of us thought of something or kind of came up with an idea. And a long time ago, I had seen this video on YouTube as well of a pink dirt bike riding through a high school. Something very similar. So me and my good friend, who also rode dirt bikes at the time, decided to kind of piggyback off that and really make a new video on that. I had a GoPro at the time, one of the older ones. Of course, had all my dirt biking gear and everything like that. So at the time, I was also trying to sell the dirt bike of this prank. And really what the plan was we're going to have somebody kind of help us open a door where I entered, as you see in the video, and then somebody helped me open the door as I was exiting the school. And we planned it in a very particular way. We have a special education class that was in that school as well. And they always left school early, about 3:10-ish. So we wanted to plan it after that fact because we didn't want to risk anything. And we did think about this diligently. The path that we were going through high school made sure to avoid that classroom where they get on their bus and also go home and things like that. So, and also at the end of the day, everybody's in their classrooms. There's usually not many bathroom breaks that happen at the end of the day there. And so again, we did try to diligently plan what kind of was happening and how it was working. Of course, I was 18 at the time, so I could sign myself out of school and just go home. So ultimately, the original plan was to go home, sign out of school, go home, and get the dirt bike ready to go. So that same day, I had actually lined up a buyer to buy my dirt bike that I was selling, the one in the video. And we were kind of texting back and forth that day, and he was waiting to get approved from the bank for a loan to be able to buy my dirt bike. And so that was a huge part of the plan, was selling that after the fact of me riding right through the school. So I went home and put on all my riding gear, and the reason for all the riding gear was to keep it anonymous. I didn't initially plan on posting it right away on social media after I did the video. And I didn't want to wear any school clothes or any clothes that I regularly wore to school, such as tennis shoes, hats, clothing, because of course all schools have cameras in them, and all you have to do is just go back to the camera footage and you can see, who wears what and backpacks or shoes or whatever that may be. So I kind of wanted to avoid that, and by wearing, your full outfit, your boots, pants, jersey, goggles, helmet, you can't really identify anybody by those measures. So that was a big part of the plan as well, to try to keep it anonymous as to who did this and why, why did they do it, so on and so forth. But the plan was to go home before school ended, get dressed up in my gear. I was warming up my dirt bike outside, and my grandma actually took a picture of me. I'll try to post it on the video here. She took a picture of me before I actually went and rode through the high school, and she posted it on Facebook before I even had done any of this. So I kind of almost ruined the anonymous thing before it had even begun, because it had me and basically all my gear except for my helmet and goggles. So it kind of gave it away almost immediately. But nevertheless, I was outside kind of warming up my dirt bike and getting ready to go. And I left my phone at home, of course. And so ultimately the plan was to do that. I was going to ride through the high school, in and out quick. I was going to ride right home. I was going to literally ride it right in the back of my dad's truck at the time and lay the bike down so of course nobody could see it, and I was gonna drive out of town and go sell it. That was the plan. Ultimately there wouldn't have been much evidence to kind of come back to and say, hey, this is your bike, and it's like, no, it wasn't. I don't have that bike anymore, or didn't have the bike per se. But ultimately that plan kind of fell apart, and I'll explain that a little bit here. So I left my house. I lived about maybe less than a block away from the school, so I rode right from my house to the school, and I had it all set up. Everybody was ready to rock and roll. Most of the people that helped me in the riding to the school, they were in our shops and auto mechanics class, which was towards the end of the day. So you had a little bit more freedom in that class, at least when I was in school. And so that's kind of where we planned it all out, made the plan. And so I rode into school, and as you'll see in the video, major rookie mistake. The doorways are pretty small, and if you know dirt bike handlebars, you'll be lucky if they do fit through clean. Sometimes you kind of have to angle them to get them in there. But ultimately, I hit the handlebar with my clutch hand, the left hand there, and hit that on the door going in, and I popped the clutch and of course stalled the bike. And that, as most of you have commented on the video of me riding through the school, obviously a rookie mistake. I'm not a professional rider by any means. I didn't race, none of that, just had it for fun. Grew up with dirt bikes. So again, it doesn't hurt my feelings for people to sit there and say that I'm not the best rider. I'll be the first to admit that. But I got it started back up, and as you can see, I go down to the end of that hallway and there's a T. Luckily, I got it started just in time, because there's another teacher coming down the hallway who had heard me stall the bike and then, of course, start it back up. So I stalled the bike and got it started back up, and I went and turned down a couple of hallways and, of course, rode through the high school. Some people knew it was going to happen. Word got out a little bit. So, of course, you see some kids standing in the hallway with their phones out ready to go. But a lot of that school didn't know it was happening. So, of course, as I'm going through the school, I'm revving the bike as loud as I can. A lot of the comments say how bad the bike sounds. Absolutely, it sounds horrible. I bought that bike for $500 in pieces, rebuilt it. The valves, it needed new valves, it needed a lot of different things, but I just got it to an operating state to where I could, sell it again and just kind of flip it. So, which again was the original plan of this prank per se. Ultimately, as I was going through the school and got to the end, one of my friends who was trying to open the door for me was like trying to wave me down to go a different way, because one of the band teachers actually parked in front of the door that I was set to exit out of. And you'll see that in the video towards the end there. I had just enough room to kind of sneak the bike out and ride around, but that was a really close call because I almost got trapped at the end of that hallway, but luckily we were able to kind of sneak it out and go through. So I ended up getting home from all of that, and I got a text message from the guy that was supposed to buy my bike. He did not get approved for the loan from the bank, so therefore I was not selling the bike. Now, had I known that I wasn't going to be selling the bike afterwards, I would have had a different plan. I could have tore down the bike within a matter of the amount of time it took for the police to actually show up to my house. Could have tore down the bike, could have done a lot of different things to it to kind of supplement the time and say, yeah, it wasn't me, like my bike blew up and several different things. Ultimately, my mom ran an at-home business, and she didn't even know I left the house with my bike. She just thought I was revving it up in the driveway there, getting ready to sell it and just making sure everything worked right. And so they didn't even know I left. And lo and behold, of course, I went and did that, and they had no idea. So I did that, and I got back, and the guy texted me. He's like, hey, I can't buy the bike. Apologies, so on and so forth. So ultimately, I just put the bike back in the garage and kind of put everything away. And, there was basically a couple people driving by my house that knew where I lived, and, kind of honked and so on and so forth, and did the thing. And eventually, about half hour, 45 minutes later, a police officer showed up, the school police officer, showed up to my house and started kind of asking some questions. And my mom answered the door and, of course, again, asked if I was there. Yeah, I'm here. Came out, answered some questions. He asked to see the bike. I showed him the bike, and he asked me straight there, he said, did you ride your bike through the high school? And I told him no, which was a lie, and that was obstruction of justice, lying to a police officer. That's one of the charges that I'll talk about. So yeah, that was a big part of that. So kind of jumping to where I'm at now, that was riding through the school. Police officer showed up, answered a few questions of his. He kind of felt the engine of the bike and the pipe of the bike. And said, oh, that feels a little warm to have just been revving it up outside. And I was like, yeah, that's what happens. Engines get warm when you run them. Again, just kind of being a 18-year-old sarcastic individual there. But kind of jumping to the consequences of what happened. So ultimately, I didn't intend to post the video right away, but a lot of people already knew who kind of did it. And a lot of people just wanted to see the video because most people really didn't know what happened. They just heard a rev limiter going through the high school and, kind of turned their heads and said, what was going on? So a lot of kids wanted to see the video of me doing it. So I ended up taking the GoPro video and posting it to Facebook under my profile. Police kind of already had an idea. I, kind of just said whatever. And ultimately I ended up posting it. Within 24 hours, that had 24,000 views on Facebook. I grew up in a town of 2,000 people. Obviously a little bit more than that once you go to the, outer regions of the city limits there. But ultimately the population of our town was about 2,000, 3,000 people. So to have it, to get to 24,000 views in under 24 hours, a lot, everybody pretty much knew about it. Of course, people are sharing it, teachers were sharing it, things like that. So that led to me the next day of me going to school, and I didn't go to class. I literally just walked right into the office, and I forget what they're called, the secretary or, whatever you want to call them, knew that I had done it. She saw the video and she goes, that was quite the stunt there. And the assistant principal came out and asked me, he's like, hey, Gobler, what are you doing here? And I said, I think you guys know why I'm here. And they immediately said, yeah, we have some other people that want to be here for this conversation, so just sit tight. Of course, they wanted the superintendent to be there, and a few other people as well. So ultimately, I got pulled into the office with the assistant principal and principal there and kind of had a discussion about it. Again, kind of admitted to doing it. It just was obvious at that point with 24,000 views in 24 hours in that small of a town, and admitted to doing it. And they said I couldn't walk for graduation, which I kind of told them was I wasn't very happy about that. And the only reason being is, a couple years earlier to that, there was another school prank that actually cost the school money. Mine didn't cost money. I didn't even leave a tire mark in the hallways, right? But of course they were upset because of the fact that we were able to sneak in with a motorized vehicle and sneak out, and nobody knew what happened. And it took them over 45 minutes to even find out or even chase down a lead, which was me. So they weren't very happy about that, and they were pretty upset. And ultimately, we got out of that meeting, and as soon as getting out of that meeting, the school cop put me in handcuffs and arrested me for a few different things. He clearly stated, he goes, "Remember when I said obstruction of justice yesterday when I asked you if you did this?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, okay, well, that's, you're being arrested for that." And so ultimately, that morning I went into the principal's office, did that, got out, and got arrested right then and there and brought into the jail. So I got booked, and they ended up charging me with disorderly conduct, obstruction of justice, reckless endangerment to the second degree, and negligent operation of a vehicle. All four of those combined lead to a felony charge. So ultimately, at 18 years old, I was getting a felony charge, and I haven't even graduated high school yet. So that was a pretty big one. I sat in a holding cell for about 4 to 6 hours. I don't really know how long it was. And ultimately, somebody called the judge and said, "Hey, get him out of there. It's a little ridiculous that he's sitting in jail," and didn't harm anybody. There was literally no harm done to the school. It was just ridiculous to be, for me to be sitting in jail like that. So they knew that, and somebody had called and got me out, which I'm very thankful for. That happened on a Friday. So when I got booked, they said, "Hey, if the judge isn't able to see you today, you'll be sitting here all weekend, and then they'll see you first thing Monday." So, I would have been in the actual jail, not just a holding cell. So obviously I didn't want to do that. That's no good, no fun. So at the end of the day, I got charged with all that, and going through that process was a bit of a headache. It kind of sucked. Thankfully, I had an attorney, and he helped me out and kind of saw the case and was like, "Hey, I want to help you and kind of, do what I can to get you out of this, and or at least, get rid of the felony charge." And, the judge himself said, "Hey, we don't want to ruin your life. You didn't really cause any harm. Yeah, we do want to make an example of you so that nobody else does this in, this district or the school, period." But ultimately, again, they didn't want to ruin my life going forward. You can't get rid of a felony charge once you're convicted of it. That doesn't go away, especially at 18 years old. So they didn't want to do that to me because, I have a good track record. I had a good track record per se. Was a good kid, didn't get into trouble or anything like that. So, but ultimately, I went to several court cases. At one point they thought about taking the bike away from me, but, my lawyer was like, you can't really justify taking something that's worth $2-3 grand away from somebody who didn't cause any damages per se. So ultimately what I got out of it was they lowered the felony down to a criminal disorderly conduct, and they gave me 60 hours of community service and a $500 fine, and then they would just lower it down to a disorderly conduct. So I ended up completing the 60 hours of community service at my local hockey rink, played hockey all through high school and, of course, growing up as a kid. So I loved being able to go serve time there and just kind of help them out as a community. So that was really cool that I was able to do that for community service. So I did that, and I actually went to go pay my fine, and the fine was actually taken care of. So that was another kind of blessing that had happened, was the $500 fine was taken care of, so I didn't have to pay that. Did my 60 hours of community service, and that was that. So that's kind of how it all played out, how it all worked out. And at the end of it all, if you ask me if it was worth it, it absolutely was. And would I do it again? I would. Do I recommend other people to do it? Not necessarily. It's, use your own discretion. Just know that, you may not get off as lucky as I did, per se. You may not have a lawyer who helps you out pro bono and for free. And you may not have, a judge who's as lenient towards you. So I do feel lucky in that manner that I did get off pretty easy with it, and, it could have been a lot worse for me. Let's just say that. But yeah, use your own discretion. I would have done it again. Would have done it again and again and again. But yeah, use your discretion when you think about doing that. And I saw a lot of other people comment on it. I'm going to go do this, and I believe a few other people did end up doing that and posted videos on YouTube. after I did mine. So that was very interesting as well. But yeah, just use your own discretion and think about the decision you're going to make before you actually do it. I believed I had mine well planned out, and the thought process was there. And had I known, and again, I wasn't going to sell the bike, I would have taken a different approach to kind of mitigate the risk of being caught. Had I known that, so yeah, I would have done things a little bit differently, knowing how it played out. But again, still would have done it for sure. So I do want to take a couple minutes. I know this is a lot longer than I anticipated, but I do want to take a couple minutes and also just talk about the future of this YouTube channel. So I do have about 7,000 subscribers. I may lose some after this, may gain some, who knows, who cares. But I really kind of want to transition this page. I'm a business owner myself. I own a couple businesses, have owned a few businesses in general. I was able to sell one business. So eventually on this page, I have a really good business partner. His name is Skylar. We're going to be posting videos to this channel as well, kind of just talking about LinkedIn. We have a new service coming out. It's called LinkedIn for Revenue. Kind of talking about how to leverage LinkedIn to kind of make some money and really sell your product through that social channel. Nevertheless, I figured I got my little notepad here, so if you see me looking down, I'm going to be doing some business on here, some personal life. I love to explore. I love to go camping with my girlfriend, doing adventures and just kind of things like that, right? I mean, I don't plan on doing like a vlog or anything. I don't, a lot of the issue I have with vlogs in general is most people are doing stuff to create content. I want to just do stuff to do stuff and experience life. And then if I can create content around that, awesome. And if I can share it, even better. But again, I'm not here to just go do stuff to create content. I want to do stuff to live my life and enjoy the experiences that life has to offer us. Because that's ultimately what life is. Life is about different experiences and exploring those experiences to gain new perspectives and the lenses which we see life through. So yeah, that's the plan going forward here. If you have any ideas as to what you'd like to see from me, drop them in the comments. I like reading the comments, whether they're good, bad, whatever. I enjoy them all. And yeah, I've enjoyed making this video. It's the first one I've made in, well, 6 years since it's happened. So it's been a while, but yeah, I'm really excited to share this video with all of you and put it up on YouTube and really just kind of see where the channel goes from here. I don't really have any expectations. And I just look forward to sharing a little bit more about, my life, my business, and a few different things that I'm doing, and hopefully sharing some adventures with you as well. I feel, yeah, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good. So if you stuck with me this long, I appreciate you tuning in, appreciate you hearing my story and kind of what happened and how it all worked out. And yeah, I mean, overall it's a very interesting experience and kind of helped shape the individual I am today through that experience and kind of what I went through. Gave me a good idea as to, why it's a good idea to stay out of trouble with the law and not have to be in court cases and all these different things like that. So yeah, I appreciate you sticking with me, and I look forward to seeing you on the channel here hopefully soon.